Let me ask you something. How many times have you found yourself stuck in situations where you felt like you were losing control because of a woman, doing things that didn't even seem like they were coming from you, just to please someone else? I get it. The pressure to please, not to disappoint, can lead us to make decisions that, deep down, we know aren't the best for us. What if I told you there are certain behaviors that, if avoided, not only preserve your integrity, but also increase the respect you have for yourself? As men, we're often led to believe that we need to act in certain ways to maintain relationships, or to be seen in a positive light. But the truth is, what makes us smarter and stronger is knowing where to draw the line. Today, I'm going to share with you 9 things that intelligent men should never do with women. Things that, if you avoid, will transform the way you see yourself, and more importantly, how others see you. Let's reflect together on how to live more authentically, staying true to your principles without losing your essence. Before we start, it's really important that you give this video a like so that YouTube keeps showing you my future videos. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe as I post videos every week. Now let's start by talking about something I consider essential when it comes to relationships: the past. Often when we connect with someone, we feel the need to open up, to share everything about who we've been and what we've been through. But here's the first thing I've learned and I want to share with you. Keep your past to yourself. I'm not suggesting that you be dishonest or hide important parts of your life. However, revealing all the details, especially the ones that challenged you the most, might not be the best choice. Each of us carries scars, mistakes, moments of weakness. These difficult chapters are part of our story, but that doesn't mean they need to be shared immediately or indiscriminately. When you reveal everything all at once, you give away a power that shouldn't be handed over so easily. Your past is an important part of who you are, but it doesn't fully define your present. By keeping it, you preserve your essence and avoid premature judgments that could distort the other person's perception of you. This is all about self-control. As the philosopher Epictetus said, "He who is invulnerable to his passions has no fear of the past, but also does not live at its mercy." The past is yours. It's a part of who you were, but your power lies in who you are becoming now. When you keep certain aspects of your story to yourself, you are, in fact, controlling what deserves to be shared at the right time. Have you ever shared something very personal and regretted it later? It doesn't mean you were wrong to trust, but maybe the timing wasn't right. By understanding this, you learn to share your story gradually, in a way that strengthens the connection, rather than weakening it. Think of a relationship as a journey. You don't reveal the entire path with the first step. Instead, you show the journey bit by bit as the other person walks alongside you. And that's how you should treat your past, as part of a journey, something that will only be revealed when it's truly necessary. I've created a phrase for you to reflect on, and if it resonates with you, I'd like you to comment it here. I am the guardian of my story, and I reveal my past at the right time. Keep this in mind whenever you feel the pressure to share something about your life that you're not ready to reveal. This isn't secrecy, it's wisdom. Talking about this helps us connect with others who've gone through similar experiences. Have you ever regretted revealing something from your past too soon? How do you deal with that feeling now? Let's talk about it in the comments. Your experience could help others reflect on this topic. Before we continue, I'm making my brand new ebook available. Conquer Procrastination with Stoic Philosophy, the definitive guide to success. In this ebook, I reveal the secret techniques that great philosophers use to eliminate procrastination. Are you seeking a life of success and overcoming your vices? Click the first pinned comment and download my ebook now. Let's continue. Now that we've already talked about the importance of holding on to the past, another fundamental question arises, one that many of us face: the fear of being alone. This is a silent fear, often unrecognized, but it leads us to make wrong decisions. And here's the key: face the fear of being alone. Learning to appreciate your own company is a skill few truly master, but it transforms how you approach life and relationships. When we are comfortable with ourselves, we do not seek others as a solution to our emptiness, but rather as a partner who adds value. The truth is that the fear of loneliness makes us accept less than we deserve. How many times have you seen people get involved in relationships for the wrong reasons? Perhaps you have experienced this yourself. The fear of being alone is treacherous. It whispers that any company is better than your own, but that's not how it works. Cherish your own company. When you value yourself, you won't settle for crumbs. You'll realize that the other person should complement you, not just fill an empty space. A relationship based on fear cannot flourish. It becomes a prison, where you sacrifice who you really are to avoid the discomfort of being alone. Remember what the philosopher Seneca said, "Solitude is good company when you learn to converse with it." This means that instead of fearing solitude, we should see it as an opportunity to get to know ourselves better, to grow internally. After all, if you don't feel good about yourself, how can you expect someone else to? By facing solitude, you begin to see clearly what you truly want in a relationship. And this goes far beyond simply not being alone. You want someone who values your presence, respects your space, and sees your essence. And for that, you must first offer all this to yourself. It's important to remember that being alone is not a sign of failure. In fact, it can be a sign of strength. Those who have the courage to spend time alone learn to trust themselves more, to make better decisions, and most importantly, not to settle for less. A healthy relationship begins when you already feel complete, not when you depend on another to feel whole. And now I ask you, do you fear loneliness? Have you ever felt that you accepted something you didn't want just to avoid being alone? Comment with me. I face loneliness with courage and choose wisely. Share your experience. Let's reflect on this together. Your story might inspire others not to fear the moment of being alone and instead use that time to strengthen themselves and make better choices. Following our conversation about the value of solitude and the power it gives us, it's time to talk about something that, if not well managed, can ruin any relationship: time. More specifically, managing your time wisely. It's easy to get lost, focusing so much on another person that we end up neglecting our own needs and growth. This not only harms you, but also the relationship. Let me tell you something I learned the hard way. There was a time when I put so much focus on one person that without realizing, I started to neglect myself. My personal projects were put aside, my goals were delayed, and suddenly my life revolved around another person. Everything seemed to center around us, while the me was forgotten. And you know what happened? I lost balance. This experience taught me that for any relationship to thrive, it's essential that both sides grow individually. When you focus too much on the other person, you put unnecessary pressure on the relationship. At the same time, you stop investing in what's most important: your own development. There's a quote from Marcus Aurelius that always resonates with me. Life is lost minute by minute, what we value most, because time is what we waste the most. When you let yourself be consumed by someone, you lose what's most valuable: your time. And time is something you can never get back. Understand, I'm not saying you shouldn't give attention to your partner. Of course, that's essential in any relationship. But the problem arises when you start living for the other person, forgetting about yourself. This isn't healthy, neither for you nor for the relationship. Today, I've learned to balance things better. Yes, I dedicate time to the people I love, but without losing focus on what's important to me. My personal projects, professional growth, and individual goals are non-negotiable. If the relationship is strong, it won't just accept that. It will support and encourage it. This shift in mindset makes all the difference. I've realized that when I manage my time wisely, I can bring much more to the table in any relationship. I'm a more fulfilled, complete person, and that directly affects how I relate to others. And the best part? The other person also feels this difference and values it. If you find yourself spending more time thinking about the other person than yourself, maybe it's time to reflect. How is your balance between the time you dedicate to others and the time you dedicate to yourself? Remember, a healthy relationship is not one where you lose yourself for the other, but one where you continue to grow while walking alongside someone. Have you ever found yourself dedicating more time than you should to someone, to the point of losing yourself? How do you balance that now? Let's reflect together on how to manage our time better, because it's essential not just for our relationships, but for our own well-being. Now that we've talked about how to manage your time better, it's important to address something we often overlook: celebrating your achievements. Big or small, all accomplishments matter, and learning to value them is essential for building self-confidence. Imagine the following story. Lucas, a determined young man, always had a clear goal in his mind. He wanted to run a marathon. At first, the idea seemed distant, almost unreachable. He had never run more than 5 kilometers, and the thought of running 42 seemed crazy. But Lucas decided to take the first step. He bought a new pair of trainers and started training every day, gradually increasing the distance. In the first few weeks, he could barely finish 10 kilometers. His mind was filled with doubts. Can I do this? Am I kidding myself? But each day, even on the toughest ones, he celebrated small advances. If he ran 100 meters more one day, he allowed himself to celebrate that victory. no matter how small it seemed. The day of the race arrived. Lucas wasn't the fastest, nor did he have the best performance, but he crossed the finish line. And in that moment, he realized that every small step, every daily celebration, had brought him there. He understood it wasn't just about the big goal, but about all the small victories that had supported him along the way. Like Lucas, many of us focus so much on the final destination that we forget to celebrate the journey. And those small achievements are crucial. Every step towards your goal deserves to be celebrated, because it's the sum of those steps that builds your self-confidence and eventually leads you to achieve great things. The philosopher Aristotle said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit, and this excellence is built in the small victories of everyday life. When you allow yourself to value each progress, you are creating the habit of believing in yourself, of strengthening your confidence. It's not just about grand accomplishments, like getting a promotion or buying a house. Celebrate the small things too. The project you completed, the week you were consistent in your workouts, the book you finished reading. These small victories keep the flame of motivation burning and push you to keep going. In the end, life is made up of these moments, and each one deserves to be recognized. If you only wait for the big milestones, you'll end up neglecting the whole journey that brought you there. And that journey is just as valuable as the final result. Now let me ask you, what small victories have you been neglecting to celebrate? Maybe it's time to change that. Now that we've talked about celebrating your achievements, it's time to touch on a fundamental point: protecting your mental health. In any relationship, it's essential to remember that your peace and happiness are non-negotiable. Never compromise your mental health for someone else, regardless of who they are. Imagine Anna's story. She was always a joyful person, full of dreams and plans. However, after entering a relationship, she began to notice that little by little, her sparkle was fading. At first, she thought these were just normal phases, common in any relationship. Small criticisms here and there, subtle changes in how she felt about herself. At the beginning, Anna believed that if she tried harder, everything would be fine. She started giving up things that made her happy: her dance classes, meeting friends, moments spent alone reflecting. Every choice she made was to try and please and maintain harmony in the relationship. But the cost of this was too high. Over time, Anna realized she was losing something valuable: her peace of mind. The constant effort to please and keep the relationship going was consuming her. And even more seriously, it was compromising her emotional and mental health. She found herself anxious, worried, unable to find the happiness that once came so naturally to her. It was only when Anna allowed herself to pause and look inward that she realized what was really happening. Her happiness and inner peace should not depend on someone else. She understood that by sacrificing her mental health for someone else, she was neglecting the most important part of herself. This story is not rare. How often do we find ourselves trapped in situations that drain our mental energy, believing that if we just do more, things will improve? It's easy to fall into this trap, but it's important to remember that without your mental health, everything around you destabilizes. The philosopher Seneca once said, "True happiness is in a serene and balanced mind." And this should never be sacrificed for anyone. Protecting your mental health is more than just avoiding conflict. It's about learning to identify what's draining your energy and making decisions that ensure your well-being. Whether in a romantic relationship, friendships, or even at work, it's crucial that you put yourself first. This isn't selfishness, it's self-care. Anna, like many of us, had to learn the importance of setting boundaries. She understood that if she compromised her peace to please others, she would end up losing herself in the process. She resumed the activities that made her happy, rebuilt her support network, and most importantly, began to value her own company. Now that we've talked about the importance of protecting your mental health, it's time to remember something fundamental. Stay true to yourself. There's nothing more powerful than living according to your own values and principles. When you choose to be authentic, you're making the decision to honor who you really are, without needing to conform to others' expectations. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to please everyone. Society, friends, family, everyone seems to have an idea of who you should be or how you should act. But you know what? There's no greater freedom than living according to what makes sense to you. When you live to please others, you lose yourself in the process, moving away from your dreams and your essence. Staying true to yourself means saying no when necessary, and not apologizing for being who you are. This doesn't mean you should be inflexible or selfish, but it does mean you should respect yourself first. Your life is a unique journey, and only you know what truly makes you happy. Living authentically is the greatest gift you can give yourself, and that doesn't mean it will always be easy. There will be moments when being true to yourself may displease others, but that's where the strength lies, because at the end of the day, the one who needs to be at peace with your choices is you. So don't sacrifice yourself to please others. Honor your feelings, your dreams, your goals. Staying true to yourself is not just a choice, it's a commitment to your happiness and inner peace. Be strong, be true. I choose to be true to myself. And you? Are you ready to make that choice today? Following the theme of staying true to yourself, it's important to talk about something that complements this idea. Don't sacrifice your path for others. Often, we find ourselves in situations where we are tempted to stray from our own goals to please someone else. But this can take us away from what really matters. Everyone has their own path, their own dreams and goals. When you start changing your plans just to accommodate someone else's expectations, you risk losing yourself. What do you want for your life? What are your ambitions? These questions must always be at the heart of your decisions. Of course, in any relationship, be it romantic, familial, or professional, dialogue and flexibility are important. But there's a clear line between compromising to collaborate with others and giving up your dreams and goals to meet someone else's expectations. Stay true to your plans and don't give up on what you've always wanted to achieve. Keeping your goals in focus is essential for your success and happiness. Don't let the fear of disappointing someone or external pressure make you forget what you've always wanted. You have the right to follow the path you've set for yourself. I choose to be true to myself. This is your commitment. Never forget that the path you've chosen is yours, and that path deserves respect no matter what others think or expect of you. Now that we've talked about the importance of being true to yourself and not sacrificing your path for others, let's focus on something we often overlook in the rush of everyday life: prioritizing relationships with friends and family. Strengthening connections with those who have always been by your side is essential for your journey of growth. Imagine Carla's story. She was always someone focused on her work and personal ambitions. Her friends and family supported her at every step, but over time she began to drift away without even realizing it. Family gatherings were postponed, and meetings with friends became increasingly rare. Carla was so focused on reaching her goals that she forgot a simple truth: the people who truly matter are those who have been with you through your ups and downs. One day, after a great professional success, Carla found herself at home, alone, with no one to share the moment with. She realized that she had achieved a lot, but at what cost? The people who had always supported her were still there, but she had distanced herself so much that she no longer knew how to reconnect. With this realization, Carla made a decision. She started to prioritize what truly mattered: her connections. She didn't abandon her goals, but she began to balance her life. Gradually, she returned to family lunches, arranged meetings with friends, and above all, reconnected with those who had always supported her, even when she had been distant. This story teaches us a valuable lesson. As important as personal and professional success may be, relationships are the foundation that sustains us. The friends and family who stand by us during tough times are the ones who truly matter. We must not neglect these connections in the name of individual achievements. Prioritizing these relationships doesn't mean giving up on your dreams, but rather finding a healthy balance. The presence of people who love and support you strengthens your confidence and gives you a deeper sense of purpose to keep pursuing your goals. Achievements become much more meaningful when you have someone to share them with. The philosopher Aristotle said that humans are social animals. We were not made to live in isolation, and the relationships we cultivate throughout life are fundamental to our well-being. When you strengthen your bonds with friends and family, you build a support network that will help you overcome any obstacle. If you have friends or family who have always been by your side, make an effort to prioritize them. Sometimes in the rush of life, we forget to show our gratitude to these people. Small gestures like a message or a visit can make all the difference. Remember that the relationships you build and strengthen throughout your life are the ones that will support you during tough times. Like Carla, you may realize that by reconnecting with these people, your life takes on a new meaning. Personal achievements become richer when shared, and challenges are easier to face when you have someone by your side. Never underestimate the power of a well-cultivated relationship. Now is the time to reflect. How are your relationships with friends and family? Have you been giving enough attention to those who have always supported you? Perhaps it's time to reconnect, strengthen those bonds, and realize that in the end, it's with them that you share life's greatest joys. Now that we've discussed the importance of strengthening our bonds with friends and family, It's essential to remember something that can silently consume our essence: avoiding obsessive devotion. Don't fixate on someone to the point of losing your individuality and putting your dreams aside. When we become deeply involved with someone, whether a romantic partner or a friend, it's natural to want to be present, to want to support, and be supported. But there's a fine line between healthy mutual support and obsessive devotion. When you start living for another person, to the extent that your own goals and desires take a back seat, that's when the problem arises. Have you ever stopped to think how many times, without realizing, you've put someone else's dreams ahead of your own? It may seem like a small thing at first, postponing a plan, changing a priority, but over time, you realize that you're living someone else's life, not your own. And the impact of this can be devastating to your individuality. Maintaining your identity and goals intact is fundamental. Healthy relationships are built on two people who support each other, but also respect their own journeys. When you fixate obsessively on someone, you end up losing yourself in the process. Your world starts to revolve around that person, and your own needs are set aside. Remember that your individuality is what makes you unique. It's your dreams, your ambitions, and your way of being that make you special. Don't sacrifice that for anything or anyone. Loving or caring for someone doesn't mean giving up who you are. Balance is key. You can be devoted to someone and still keep your goals in focus. When you preserve your individuality, you're investing not only in yourself, but also in the relationship itself, because a healthy relationship is made up of two complete people who walk together but don't erase each other. Now take a moment and think. Have you been dedicating enough time and energy to your own dreams? Have you kept your individuality alive, even alongside someone you love or admire? Don't lose yourself in anyone. Build a life where your personal growth is a priority. Let's reflect together. Maintaining the balance between being dedicated to others and to yourself is an act of self-care. Write in the comments, "I choose to be true to myself." This sends a message to your brain that you will be different from now on. Before you continue, don't forget to check out my latest ebook, Conquer Procrastination with Stoic Philosophy, the definitive guide to success. In this ebook, I reveal the secret techniques that great philosophers use to eliminate procrastination. If you're seeking a life of success and the overcoming of your vices, click on the first pinned comment and download my ebook right now. So, we've reached the end of this list of 9 things smart men should never do with women. And now the reflection is in your hands. Each point we've covered here has been designed to help you live more consciously, intelligently, and true to who you really are. Because at the end of the day, life is about choices, and choosing to be authentic is the most powerful choice of all. If you want to build healthy relationships, avoid common mistakes, and truly live with purpose, never forget to prioritize your own dreams and mental health. Don't sacrifice yourself to please others or lose your individuality. Smart men know the value of a balanced life and relationships that add, not subtract. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these 9 things do you believe will help you most in your daily life? Leave your comment, let's chat. And of course, if you like this content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That way, you won't miss any upcoming videos on Stoicism and how to live more intelligently and authentically. I choose to be true to myself. And you? What will you choose? I'll see you in the next video.